Oh, listen, I'm not doing makeup today. I'm about to get a puffy eye here, so I decided to just go no makeup. Um, we have to talk about Lizzo because she is being sued, and the lawsuit against her is incredibly serious. The allegations are disturbing, and I just want to talk about them with you because I am beside myself. Lizzo has made a name for herself just singing such uplifting, positive, wonderful songs, encouraging people to love their bodies, love themselves, and just all sorts of like wonderful messages. So to hear that she could potentially be mistreating her dancers behind the scenes is very upsetting, especially when you hear that these people are accusing her of body shaming them, telling them that they're too fat and all sorts of other things. This is a lot, you guys. So let's dig into the story, okay? So just remember, everything is alleged right now. This is a lawsuit. It hasn't been proven that she has actually done any of these things. These are just complaints brought forward against her by her dancers. It's gonna, continue through the court pipeline, the court system, and we'll follow it as it continues along. But for now, these are just allegations, okay? So it doesn't mean that she necessarily did these things. And it also could mean that she did these things, right? I don't know. I just want to share the story with you guys because there is an awful lot going on. So why don't I go ahead and share the page. So this is coming out, breaking news, hot off the press from NBC. So first of all, they are claiming that she's got a leader of her dance troupe who harasses these dancers for having premarital intercourse, which is just absolutely ridiculous in 2023 with all the X-positivity out there, especially when you're working for Lizzo, who loves flaunting what she's got, whether it's on the stage or it's at a basketball game, right? Like, that already is, quite alarming. And then they're saying that this same person who was trying to shame people for their private life, their intimacy and whatnot, this person also shares lewd sexual fantasies. They do a lot of disgusting things such as this. And then they also claim that this person has been trying to force her dancers to change religions, to adapt to their religion as well. So it's also worth mentioning, I apologize, I should have mentioned this off the top, but this lawsuit, there are complaints against Lizzo herself, and then her in like the second degree, as in some of these complaints are not directly against Lizzo. They're just upset that she kept someone like this on her team. So the dance troupe, the dance captain who is doing this sorts of things allegedly, for example. So, of course, so that's what they mean here. And they say that they're not aware if Lizzo knew that her dance captain, Charlene Quigley, was allegedly doing these disgusting things with her dance troupe. Okay. So now when it comes to, the rest of the situation, the dancers are claiming that they have been subjected to religious and racial harassment, false imprisonment, interference with their economic advantage, and just a bunch of really, really shocking things. So their complaint reads, and I quote, "The stunning nature of how Lizzo and her management team treated their performers seems to go against everything Lizzo stands for publicly, while privately she weight shames her dancers and demeans them in ways that are not only illegal, but absolutely demoralizing." So what they're saying is she had a dancer, like the dancers were doing their thing. And then one day she goes to one of the dancers and points out in front of everybody that she feels as though she is less committed to her role in the dance troupe because she has been gaining weight, which is something that I find really shocking, right? Because when you look at this photo of her dance troupe, they look like they are just juicy, curvy ladies, okay? I think a lot of them look to be smaller than Lizzo, and then some of them look to be about the same size as her. So the idea that Lizzo would be calling anyone out for their weight here and saying that they need to lose weight, I'm having a hard time with that, you guys. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm naive because I love Lizzo so much, but when I just see how she's been bullied over the years for doing nothing but existing, you know how many times she's been turned into a punchline in so many disgusting fat phobic jokes over the years by even like big name celebrities and whatnot, like not just like random people on the internet, but actual celebrities have used her, this beautiful, talented woman, as a punchline, as a joke, and just like as, as if she were disgusting or something. I have a really hard time that she would then turn around after putting together a dance troupe of women that most other singers would not really hire to dance for them, and then fat shame them after naming the show Watch Out for the Big Girls, meaning these girls, we all know what we're getting, right? I don't know. I'm having a hard time. Let me know if I'm being naive or something like that in the comment section, but this is really difficult for me. I don't want to, deny someone's experience or this, that, or the other, but I also I'm having such a hard time. Like, this just does not compute to me. I feel like normally when people go through a certain thing, they just would not really, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm naive, you guys. I'm sorry, but I'm just having such a hard time. So anyway, they're also saying now, when it gets to some really nasty, filthy things, they're saying that Lizzo would take the girls to like some clubs, the adult clubs, right? And some of these girls at the club would do some really risque activities, such as shooting toys out of their coochies, stuffing bananas in them, and asking the guests to eat the bananas and whatnot. So apparently this is what Lizzo was encouraging her group to do. She would be like, oh my God, go eat that banana out of her coochie. That, okay. I will say I wouldn't be surprised if she were doing that, because Lizzo, she's already quite risque in public in the things that like she'll wear sometimes. Like, remember that outfit to the basketball game, like that, or like some of her TikToks have been quite nasty. I've seen her like simulating BJs on her TikTok. Okay. So like, if she's willing to do that on TikTok, publicly, this stuff wouldn't really surprise me. Okay. So this is where I can go, okay, like I can see that. I can see that. I'm not saying it happened for sure, but I'm just saying, okay, I can kind of see that. And so they're saying that she also would pressure people to touch the boobs of the women working at the clubs and stuff like that. See, this is why I can't get with these things. I've never been to, an adult dancing club or anything like that. I just find it very demeaning to the people, like the idea of people being dared to touch other people and just to do all these things as if you're like a circus freak. It doesn't jive with me. So I do feel sad for the performers when I read these sorts of stories. The whole thing just seems really sad for everybody involved. So her dancers are claiming that like she would host these parties all the time and she would invite people to go to them. And of course they were not mandatory, but there was kind of like this understood, non-said sort of situation where it's like, okay, the more that you go to these parties, the more, like, the higher up the ranks you're going to move in the dance troupe. So people did ultimately feel pressured to go to these sorts of parties. And so now some of these dancers, remember, there's 3 of them filing this lawsuit. And so one of them is claiming that Lizzo pressured her to take off her clothes while at these shows and whatnot. Like, there is just a lot. And so in the direct quote, it says, plaintiffs were aghast with how little regard Lizzo showed for the bodily autonomy of her employees and those around her, especially in the presence of many people whom she employed. Oh, Lord have mercy. I feel sad for them if this really did happen, right? That's really shocking, really scary. And the amount of pressure you feel, because not only is this your boss, but your boss is this huge superstar, right? She's Grammy Award winning. Like, she had this song of the summer once upon a time. Like, she's just got so much going for her, right? So like the power dynamics in that situation are just like so far out of whack. Now, let's move into the harassment claims. So they're saying that there was racial harassment in the form of comments charged with racial and fat phobic sort of, what's that thing, like underlying, subtext that were made by touring company employees. And so NBCnews.com is reporting that in one instance, the former dancers asked to be compensated for their downtime at a rate of 50% of their weekly pay. Okay. And it can't, and it makes sense, right? When you're on tour and stuff, like, you have to pay for food or this or that. So to get a little bit of a stipend sounds fair. So according to them, an accountant allegedly responded to the request by offering only 25% and scolding them for being unacceptable and disrespectful. Disrespectful is very harsh, and unacceptable too, while we're at it. And here's the quote. Only the dance cast comprised of full-figured women of color were ever spoken to in this manner, which is where the racial component comes from. Now, when it comes to the alleged religious harassment that some of them suffered, they're saying that the dance captain, who also worked as a judge on Lizzo's reality show, Here Come the Big Girls, or was it Make Room for the Big Girls? I don't remember. Hang on, let me pull up the picture. Yeah, Watch Out for the Big Girls. They're saying that like the lady who was the judge and the captain and everything like that, she would preach her Christian beliefs and took every opportunity to proselytize, which means to try to convert people, any and everybody in her presence, regardless of their actual existing religious beliefs. Oh, that's kind of scary. I really don't like that when people try to push their religion onto you. Just live and let live, people. So now, after discovering that one of these dancers was a virgin, the captain discussed the subject in interviews and posted about it on social media, according to the lawsuit. Wow, that's wild. And so when the dancers would ask her to stop doing that and pressuring another dancer, but with the last name of Rodriguez, about her faith, the dance captain, Ms. Quigley, said, "No job, and no one will stop me from talking about the Lord." Oh, Lord have mercy. All right, so there's some more elements. This is long, you guys. This is a very big lawsuit. I'm gonna have to get a lawyer friend to hop on this channel with me to help dissect it as it continues to move through the courtrooms. By the way, if you're enjoying the stream, please do make sure to subscribe to my channel and give the stream a thumbs up so my videos can continue to pop up in your algorithm. So now they're saying that 2 dancers were fired in April and May, presumably of this year. They're saying that Williams lost her job on April 26th after she spoke up in a meeting where she challenged Lizzo, claiming that dancers were drinking before performances. And Lizzo, when she accused people of drinking alcohol before performances, she's like, okay, well, if you guys are going to do that, you need to audition again. And they just felt like it was too much to make people do a 12-hour rehearsal under the guise of re-auditioning. I wonder if she paid them for their time, or she would argue that, hey, it was an audition, so I don't need to pay them. So she was kind of doing it like, those dance competition shows where she doesn't like it, then you got to go and bounce. So anyway, the complaint continues on there. They're not yet listing a dollar amount of what they want from Lizzo, but just to kind of revise what they're saying there's sexual harassment, racial harassment, religious harassment, and fat shaming going on here. I really want to know how you guys feel about all of this, because like I said, I would be crushed. I know it feels so naive and it feels so stupid, but I genuinely would be crushed that somebody who knows, as well as Lizzo knows, how painful it is to be fat shamed. This woman has been, there was a summer, like I think it was even just a couple of months ago, where everyone would just come after her body all the time, right? Like people would be like, oh, I want a thin girl. I don't want a girl like Lizzo. You know what I mean? For like the idea that someone like this would turn around and make other people feel bad about their bodies, especially when she's trying to empower them through her dance troupe called The Big Girls and her show called Watch Out for the Big Girls. Like that it's too shocking for me. My mind can't let me process this. And I hate to call anybody a liar, and I'm not calling anybody a liar. I'm just saying I need time to let this sink in, because it's just too shocking for me to be able to accept it. I feel like Lizzo, when she made this show and when she launched her dance troupe, she wanted to celebrate these sizes and to prove that like bigger women can still dance and still, do all sorts of wonderful things and still be beautiful, still be hot, sexy, vibrant and whatnot. So the idea that like she would be coming at someone for like gaining a little bit of weight, like, I don't know. I'm just having such a hard time with it. It's really, really sad. But like I said, when it comes to the stuff about the strip clubs and the strippers, that stuff I have an easier time accepting. That stuff I'm like, okay, well, so maybe you took a little too far. Maybe you had a little bit too many drinks, or maybe you got a little bit too familiar with your people, or maybe you were just not really understanding where people's boundaries were, or how like your star power makes people feel like they're not able to say no. Like that I can see. And then when it comes to her captain, that is a separate issue. So when it comes to the racial stuff and the religious stuff, that is not Lizzo herself that is being accused of those things. Those are members of her team, whether it is her accounting team who is refusing to pay people a reasonable wage for their downtime, offering 25% instead of 50%, and then scolding them for asking for compensation. And then, when people are being religiously harassed and whatnot, those are not things that are being blamed on Lizzo. So just to make that clear. Oh my God, you guys, I'm really sad about this. I hope oh God, I'm really sad about this. I can't, it just makes me really sad because I'm just imagining, right? Like these people, they feel like, oh my God, we're finally being seen. Like finally some space is being paid for us. Finally someone's going to celebrate our bodies and has a similar body to us, right? Just to be so, shocked, whiplash, like the whiplash I would get, right? If all of a sudden this big girl who produced this movement for other big girls turned around and shamed someone for being a big girl, God, like, do you see why it's not computing for me? It's just, oh, it's so jarring. Honestly, okay, we're gonna follow this case on my channel, okay? It's very interesting. And like I said, it's very shocking. I still need time to process. Like my heart feels hurt for the girls, if any of them really did experience this. And then it just feels hurt also remembering how badly Lizzo has been bullied herself and harassed online over her own body weight. She could just be minding her own business. All of a sudden, a rapper is going to diss her body, or Candace Owens is going to diss her body, or just some random incel is going to diss her body, like very publicly and stuff, Oh, it's a lot. Let's all take a break, you guys. Let me know what you think about the situation. Like, where do you stand on these issues and where do you see this going? Let me know in the comment section down below. And as usual, we'll chat. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.